We're back. We're back
Beep,
in here,
beep.
and now, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Again, so that was you did a great job explaining a deep topic, but broke it down. I think for me at least, I was able to follow each bit of the way of understanding what's going on.
Yeah. One of the really great things here was exactly the real world example where you actually had all of the parts and the messaging part was a small part of it. So I love that.
I see Derek was asking about QAP, and maybe in a couple more minutes, if we don't have any other questions, John can actually demo a little bit more about the tool. But it's written in AutoHotkey. It was kind of funny because I was telling Gabe, initially when I started using it, I was instantly putting in my snippets, and sadly, like some of them weren't working. And John's like, yeah, sadly, not many people are actually using it for coding in AutoHotkey. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so awesome. Like, I'm not sharing my screen. I'd show you like all I've built into it. It's so easy to have snippets of code that you dump in, and use regularly. It doesn't have to be AutoHotkey code, right? I actually use it for my SPSS and for launching stuff for Tableau and for a lot of other things. But yeah, this general concept, because we covered in a webinar, I forget when, it was a while back, various ways to connect to programs. And okay, sure. Actually, John you have snippets, John, don't you, in yours? Or should I switch to mine?
What do you mean? If
you wanted a demonstration about snippets, just to show.
Yeah. In quick access pop-up?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Have you started the recording again, Joe?
I thought I did.
Yeah. I just can't see it on my screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair enough.
Yep. So a snippet is just it's text that you want to be able to pull up either from the GUI message, which is what Jean's demonstrating, or you could have a hotkey assigned to it, or you can have a hot string. Any of these three triggers you can use to dump whatever text you've predisposed to say, hey, when I do this thing, dump in this text. And it'll work in any Windows program like AutoHotkey, right?
Yeah, and if you know hot strings and AutoHotkey, hot strings is another way to launch a favorite in quick access pop-up. So you can choose, in this case, I have a snippet, which is my full address. I can choose it here in the pop-up menu.
Or I'm coming to visit you.
ADR. Excuse me?
I said, I'm coming to visit you. Now I know where you live.
Yeah. You know where I live. So there's the hot string here, ADR hashtag, that is automatically replaced by the snippet. It's something new with Quick Access Pop-up version 9. Thank you to Joe to give me this ID to integrate the hot strings.
John, can you show inside of QAP how that is defined?
Yeah.
Because that's it looks like kind of black magic, or a hot string when you're doing it, but to just demonstrate that how you have it stored in QAP. And of course it can be, thousands of characters.
So you mean showing this in the setting?
Right.
Yeah. So the entry we were using is this one here, my full address. It is a snippet. It has no hotkey. We could have a Shift Control A to paste the address if I use it very frequently, or there's the
hot string
here, and part of the content is here. If I open this, I see the name that appears in the menu, the snippet itself here. If your content is very long, you can maximize or kind of enlarge, make this window bigger. You can use fixed font if you're typing code. It's easier that way. And so that's it. And the fun part of it, when you are, as probably most of you are actually knowing about scripting and programming, is that you can turn a regular text snippet into a macro snippet. And what it will do is that after I type the content here, I'll give you an example where I will do the up command. going up 4 lines. And I'm saving it. Reload, return to Notepad. And here ADR hashtag. And no, my cursor is now at the top here. So I'm ready to type the name of the person I want to send at this address. So it could be up, right, you know, all these commands. It cannot be a macro, it cannot be variables or loops because it requires them to build really a script with different lines. But everything that can be in a send command in AutoHotkey can be sent that way. And if we take a look at the help file that I put here, snippet help. So what are snippets? The string, my window is very small because I changed the resolution. So normally you will have more text here. But if I go to creating macro snippets, so you have all the explanation. You can insert sleep inside your macro because sometimes when you send command to a software, you need to wait half a second for the program to be ready to continue. So you can insert sleep inside the macro snippets and put a delay to slow down the execution. And you have access to all these, the keys that can be sent. So all these keys, I took a copy of what is on the AutoHotkey documentation side, but stripping down things that were not applying. But you know, if you want to press F1, if you want to press Escape, Tab, all these characters are there. And using the regular syntax, you add a number, it will repeat the key for a given number of times. So that's how we did.
Yeah, and by the way, and John will know the date on this, I don't quite remember, but we're having a webinar on QAP, Quick Access Pop-Up, in June. Is it June 8th? Is that right?
June the 5th.
5th, sorry.
5th.
So it's going to be an introductory. Of course, you can go get the program now and play with it and do everything, but we're going to have
in this webinar, we won't go that deep as we can do with your techie people.
Right.
But it will give an idea. And I like very much working with Joe doing these webinars, so we can do some others on different topics in the future. We made one last week that was what's new in version 9 that has been launched a few weeks ago. So it was interesting to have users asking questions about the new features.
And it's available in, what, 11 languages?
10, now 9, because one was not really updated. So it's 9 languages. So most of the used languages are there. In fact, here in options, you see so Brazilian Portuguese, Dutch, English, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Chinese,
yeah,
and Spanish. A lot of German users.
Yeah, it's a very cool program.
Are a great number of users there.
Jean, I have a question, and I see somebody else saying that they used to make all those GUIs by hand. I know that's that was you. Oh, okay. Well, well, anyway, Jean, one of the things that I use a lot of is the portable versions of programs, because anybody else who may lack admin privileges can't install certain things and so forth. So what I noticed, because I just started using the portable version of your program, but I uninstalled the regular version. Now with the regular version, that also I noticed had changed the registry to include the options that you were demonstrating at the top of the hour today, with selecting a file and then adding it to Quick Access Pop-Up, using Express and the non-Express version.
Yeah.
However, in the portable version, that is not the case. So do you happen to have the registry version of editing that, kind of like as you...
If you look at
demonstrating earlier,
in the zip file, there's a script, a batch, in fact, that one of my users created that make it very easy to install the. Let me see, where is this file? My screen is so small for the presentation. So Quick Access Pop-Up. No, not this one. too many windows, too little space. I just don't have my regular. I'll just switch back to my regular. The thing is, when you are very used to a tool, is that when the tool is not there, you are lost.
When I sit down on a computer that I don't have AutoHotkey installed, I almost feel useless. You know, I have to remember how to do things old-fashioned way.
There we go. So quick access pop-up. So there's here the live menu. So a live folder, it gives every subfolder that are in this folder here. I can talk to you more about that. It's very interesting. And so there's the build folder that I'm using, and there this, and in fact, I'll go in the distribution files here. No, I'll return, excuse me. So what you receive is this zip file when you download the portable version. And in it, there is something called manage context menu.bat, which is a batch file. And after that, I think you press 1 to install or 2 to uninstall. I don't remember. I can test it here. So yes, 1, install quick access pop-up menu. You just have to make sure that this batch is installed in the same folder where you have your executable quick access pop-up, because it will use the current folder as the path for the messenger. Okay,
cool.
The path to the messenger. So and 2, it will uninstall. So you have the same. Previously, I created a file, you know, that you had to edit to put the right folder to, like we did in the example that we showed for the messenger earlier. But with this command, thanks to, I don't remember his name, it's not there, but thanks to this user, we've done that.
Cool.
Thank you.
He's Dogan Silik, or Shilik. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's probably from someone in the Eastern Europe, somewhere in Eastern Europe. Was going to check for the source. Who is it to ask for the source? So the source are here on GitHub. I'll put it in the chat. It's a very long file. It's 20,000 lines with lots of comments. I'm commenting a lot, and it includes all the history. So there's a lot of stuff there, but we can help. So you can, if you wish, take this script, compile it, change it if you need. Of course, if you change it, you will have to cope with the changes I will do in the future, but it is possible for you to do that.
Did anybody else have any other questions or anything they're working on?
Any concern you have? I'll have to leave in 10 minutes personally.
Right.
Joe.
That's right, John. Yeah. No, well, thank you for, you did a great job on a pretty steep topic. You know, a little steeper than our normal things, but I like I said, I learned a lot. I haven't learned it well enough to implement it, you know, without thinking about it, but it's some great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Windows messages are really powerful. So yeah, and using the copy data that you're using here, that's absolutely one way of doing it. I know that previously I've done it in a simpler way. When just sending something simple, I'm looking at a script currently, so I'm just trying to figure out so I'm saying the right things. Where instead of actually using the copy data, which isn't always needed, you can use a normal variable to actually send the stuff instead.
Yeah, I did get a little confused on that because I was thinking about the videos I watched from Raptor X. He has AHK Toots on YouTube, and I believe he did the demo with the Windows 8. No, what the hell is that? What's that audio player? Winamp. Using
Winamp, yeah.
post messages and showing how to monitor, what that's using, and then finding that command to use. But I don't remember what you just mentioned, Jackie, that there's the different commands that you might be using, and that's I get a little fuzzy on that part.
Yeah, it's the vparam and the lparam of the messages, whereas you need to put in a message number, but then the vparam and the lparam can be used to actually send simple stuff. But the problem is when you actually get to have a complicated string like the path that Sean is sending.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can end up not really getting what you wish across.
Right. But by the way, just on that same topic, so with what Jean was demonstrating, we were, of course, creating the receiver program and then doing something with it. But as I just mentioned with Winamp, a lot of programs actually have these things they're already monitoring for. And so if COM isn't available where you can connect to a program, this could be another way where you can connect to it and tell it to do something. Like in Winamp, you can pause it, you can skip the next song, right? They have built-in things that you can send them messages and they will behave a certain way. But to Jackie's point,
and
they can't be too complex, generally speaking, right?
No, exactly, and I've used it mostly for, let's say, sending. It could be a simple number. So sending to the same address, just like Sean, and instead of sending MSG or GUI, just sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, and then having the receiver know which of them is which, and that way you ain't actually sending a string across, and you can use a more simple version of sending messages. So yeah, there's a lot of ways of actually utilizing it. Inter-script communication, that's one thing, and of course actually interacting with maybe more of the older programs have this built in.
Yeah.
Whereas today maybe the art of using those have been lost a little. But yeah, it's still viable. Can still use it to, let's say, send more simple stuff, and AutoHotkey is already using it on the back end to send mouse messages and all of that. When you use a control command, a command where the command name starts with control, it's actually sending these messages on the back end. You just don't see So those are the actual message numbers which are under 1,000. So that's why Sean had that in his comments, because let's say 0x200, that would be a mouse move. Yeah, and 0x201, that's a mouse click and stuff like that. So yeah, these messages are used all the time on the back end of Windows.
Then there's the OX007, and that just goes and kills everything.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Did anyone else have any? And again, it doesn't have to be on this particular topic. Anyone working on anything that they want to share or have questions on how to? We were discussing with Gabe Zema conceptually how to solve some of his things he's trying to do. Is there anyone else want anything to bring up and ask? I know Jean has to run here shortly, but thanks again, Jean, for presenting on that. It's a big help. I've been busy lately. All right. I guess we're good then. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Jean.
Yeah.
See you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah.
We'll see you all soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Will.
Recording.